Today on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast, you'll meet Adam Westenbroek of Westwind Dairy, a man who didn't grow up milking cows, but always had a dream to be a California dairyman. Fast forward to today as he is living out that dream on a dairy that's just as much about faith and family as it is about cow comfort and cutting-edge technology. Adam shares how he's reshaped not only how his dairy runs, but how he shows up as a husband, dad, and leader. This one's all about doing the right thing for the cows, the crew, and the people who matter most. That and more right here today on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This episode is powered by Nedap. Nedap is future-proofing dairy farms by revolutionizing cowside care through technologies and activity monitoring, cow locating, milk metering, and identification. So, Adam, this is one of my first times on a California dairy, so pretty excited to be here. I think I'm on the right one. This is a beautiful place.
Thank you.
How did you get into this? How did you get your start as a dairyman? Because you didn't grow up on a dairy, right?
No, I didn't grow up on a dairy. I grew up around dairies, though. My dad is a semen salesman, and I would ride in the truck with him to go see different dairies growing up in Chino. I went to school in Iowa at Dordt College for ag business and got an opportunity to work on a dairy here in Bakersfield and met the neighbor's daughter who was also in the dairy business. And then my father-in-law gave me a amazing opportunity to run this place and haven't looked back.
So you entered into dairy through marriage.
Yes.
And it worked out all right.
It worked out all right. Yeah. I always wanted to be a dairyman, right? Growing up, that's what I wanted to be. I don't know why. I just thought I was always impressed with the work ethic of a dairyman. I thought they worked hard, and I liked to work hard, just around the house. We didn't have cows or anything like that, but doing household chores, and I thought it would translate well to doing dairy chores.
So your dad, Doug, he spent a lot of time on these dairies here in California through his career with Gen X. Did you ride along with him as a kid sometimes?
All the time. On the weekends, I remember, cruising down the roads and, going into different dairymen's office. And I loved the semen tanks, the nitrogen, how they would just bubble up and everything like that. And then I used to do a little bit of relief breeding, and I would go with him and get the numbers for him and everything like that. So just being around that and kind of getting to do little experiences like that really just got me so excited to be around it. And right, your dad's your hero, right? So your dad, I wanted to do what my dad did, be around cows all the time. So that's pretty much it.
So that way for you to be around cows ended up, through it circumstance, marrying the farmer's daughter and getting an incredible opportunity to actually become a dairyman.
Yes.
So that was 11 years ago?
I got married in 2013. Okay. Yeah, so I started working on dairies but a little before that. But yeah, I moved on to this place in 2013.
What was this facility like when you came here?
It needed a little bit of attention. That my father-in-law had bought it the year before I took over. So he had already started kind of the process of getting shades up, filling it up with cows. It didn't have what we wanted to milk on it. But then since then, it's been every year, it's different projects trying to update the facility. How can we get more cows through the barn type things and stuff like that, and keeping cows cool, of course. So
yeah. So when you guys came to this particular site, it had cows on it?
Yeah, we bought the whole dairy with the cows that were on it. My father-in-law had excess cows at the time, so we were able to populate it that way.
And so when you started here, did you have a picture in your mind of what you wanted this dairy to become?
I was nervous to make the wrong decision. So I always wanted it to make it my own and have it my decisions run the place. And when I first started, it was like calling my father-in-law every day, like, hey, a feed contract or something's not working right. Who should I call? Now I've developed, relationships with different companies, different service companies, semen companies, everything like that, where it's really kind of my own now, making my own decisions. Don't get me wrong, my father-in-law is still very involved here. He's I mean, the reason I have this place is because of him, and he's still a partner on it too. So, but it's just, he lets me run it, take care of it as it's just my own. We've just done a lot since then, building out the wash pen, cow cooling.
So that's the constant opportunity for improvement is on that cooling side. Huh?
It's a battle every year. Yeah.
So for someone that is not from this Bakersfield area that we're in right now, put a little lens around what it's like on the hottest day here.
Summers in Bakersfield most days are going to be over 100, and then your hottest days are going to be 110 plus. The sun is very intense. It's not good on your skin. It's not good on cow skin, and everything you touch, you can fry an egg on. It's hot. So from a cow's perspective, even just putting their head through a stanchion to eat, they don't want to do it because it's just too hot. So everything is just, it's miserable basically. So
on the worst days, it's tough.
Oh yeah.
And so when you really look at, the challenges you face as a dairyman here, what does that look like on a daily basis?
Heat's probably the biggest one that we face, and we know we're going to face it every year. That's why, we do different things every year to try to figure out, to capture just a little bit, cool their body temperature just a little bit. And one of the ways that I thought could help with that was with these activity collars and sort gates, just not forcing the cows to stand up out of the shade so they could go, they can hang out in the shade and get feed when it's cool or earlier in the morning or late at night, and not have to, stand them up and lock them up until, potentially 10:30 or 11 o'clock when it's, at times it's pushing 100 already at 10 o'clock in the morning. Every year I'm thinking of different ways to try to cool the cows. So
yeah. So you just mentioned that activity monitoring and sort rates have been something you brought into this operation here.
Yep.
So put that in a perspective of this bigger picture of, like your goal, one of your goals and constant areas that you see to improve on is cow comfort via heat abatement, essentially, right? So as you've implemented some of the technology, how has that helped?
Right away, I noticed my intakes actually went up. And when I started not locking cows, I actually thought I would see a decrease because I wasn't standing that cow up, but it did the opposite. So right away, we noticed an increase in intakes, which obviously translates to milk, right? So we haven't gone through a full summer with it yet. I'm very excited to see though, like what is going to happen with cows not being that extra stress on that cow through the summer. So
yeah, and that all coincides with the activity monitoring collars.
Yep.
So when did you adapt that into the system here?
So the collars started in June of 2024. Yep. And then the gates came in September.
So we're coming up on the year mark here of the collars, followed by the sort gate.
Yep.
And so I know we've been talking about heat abatement as something that's really driven those decisions, but if you really step back and look at the bigger picture, what really prompted you to say now is the time to invest in these measures, these technologies to be able to mitigate heat, but maybe there's some other factors involved there too?
Yeah, one of the main reasons that has really nothing to do with cows or heat stress or anything like that is because I wanted to spend more time with my family. Young kids playing sports and stuff, I want to make it to their games on Saturday morning. But yet my nutritionist is actually the one that talked me into getting the activity system as just a way to monitor the whole herd, right? Because when we were doing it before, we're just locking up our 4 AI pens. We're not really looking at the preg pens or the bull pens or anything like that. So we're getting a more complete picture of how the herd is doing without locking every single cow up every day. So those are a couple of the main factors. The main one being spending more time with the family.
Let's talk about family.
Okay.
How many kiddos do you have?
I've got 3, a 8-year-old boy, 5-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old girl. 2nd grade, preschool, and one that wishes she was in preschool. So
the one that tags along with the big brothers and wants to do everything they do.
Yeah, she got to do everything they do. Yep.
Are they little dairy kids that are involved in the things here?
I'd say especially the oldest boy. He's 8, and he'll ride his bike out to me, or if the golf cart's at the house, he'll hop on the golf cart and drive out to me. And he loves like getting numbers for me. Like I said, I would do with my dad. He loves getting the numbers for me if I'm behind the cow or something like that. So he loves to help any way he can.
So you saw where, your kids like being here, but you also wanted to be there for the things that they're getting more involved in.
Yeah.
So what does dad life look like for you these days?
This time of year, it's a lot of helping the wife with school pickups and stuff like that. But both my boys are in sports. They both play hockey. I love hockey too, so I want to be able to do that with them. I coach them on Monday nights and Saturday mornings. Getting to spend time with them doing that it's meant a whole lot to me. So
Okay, so this bigger picture of, your drive to want to make sure you could spend that family time, like what's the type of dad that you want to be for your kids?
first and foremost, I want to be a spiritual leader for my kids. But I want to be there for them for, whatever they might need. And love is TIME, time. I want to be able to spend as much time with them as I can. And if it's coaching hockey, if it's picking them up from school, and anything I can do, spend time with them.
And so, so once again, like you also love working.
Yep.
And you are a guy that like you really loved breeding cows,
Yep.
right? Like that was kind of your jam around here for a long time.
Yep.
So like let's just talk about that for a second, because when you're an owner and a manager, but also doing a lot of the hands-on work, that's a lot on your plate.
I still breed for sure one day a week to give my guy a day off. I still breed a lot of cows too, though, during the week, just to help him out, especially heavy breeding days. With him now kind of taking the reins, I mean, he's honestly a better breeder than I was, which is, it's hard to admit, but I like to be hands-on with all that stuff, but now I'm able to spend more time building relationship with my milkers in the barn or my feeder, and doing other management things that I was kind of neglecting just because I thought, well, breeding is my most important thing. And there were other areas with management, talking to milkers or doing safety meetings or keeping up with it's something as simple as keeping up with fire extinguishers for those kinds of inspections. Like just keeping up with that kind of stuff has gotten much easier with pulling back just a little bit from breeding. And Sunday morning is when I do the breeding myself when my guy is off, and it's like my favorite day of the week. It's quiet too. There's no cars driving by, nothing like that. It's real quiet. Just get to hang out with cows, breed cows, treat cows, any sick ones get cut out, anything like that, and spend a couple hours with the cows.
Yeah, that's like your time, huh?
Yeah, it is.
And just to like set the stage for the setting that we're in here, I mean, you have the beautiful view of the mountain from right where we're at, from the lots. So that I can see how that would be a time that you might really enjoy, just some quiet time, just you and the cows, right? Because you're a cow guy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so as a cow guy and this guy that, really has taken a lot of pride in being the breeder also, kind of walk through, day in the life prior to bringing some of this technology into breed cows. And then we'll get to what it's like today. Because, now you've got the activity monitors. Now we've got sort gates.
So there were 4.5, 5 AI pens, and then the fresh pen, and we would lock all of them up every morning. And to try to keep lock times to a minimum, we do 2 at a time. So there were days, like heavy breeding days, I wasn't getting done until 11 o'clock. And heat detection too, that's something I used to take a lot of pride in. I thought, the computer would tell you that I was pretty good at heat detecting. And so when we went to the activity system, before we went to the gates, between the time we got the collars and the gates, we were still locking up cows. And I was still chalking cows because is it as good as me? So I would chalk cows and I would heat detect along with the collars. And I thought I would find cows in heat that the collars weren't catching most of the time. It's just that I caught her super early, like before that she was really ready to be bred. what had to happen was I needed to learn to trust the collars. And since the gates, I have to. So trusting the collars has been probably one of the biggest changes for me.
So you say change, but was it also challenge?
Yeah.
Too,
Yes,
huh?
that was a challenge. Yeah.
So what did it take to gain your trust as a guy that like took a lot of, personal satisfaction and enjoyment
Uh-huh.
and pride, even though it was taking a lot of time, right? Like that was kind of your thing, your zone.
Yep.
Yeah. So what did it take for you to be able to get to a point where you're like, okay, the system's got this.
Yep.
I can actually trust it. What did that take?
So I would code in the computer all my breedings based on, the heat score from the Nedap system. And the cows that I bred that had not registered as a heat in Nedap, I coded them a different code. And come the first vet check, they didn't do so good. The ones that I thought were hot and Nedap said were not hot. So it took a couple vet checks of things like that for me to be like, okay, maybe I was wrong on those, but yeah.
How did your ego deal with this?
It took a little hit. Yeah, I thought I was really good, at heat detecting, but maybe I still had some things to learn too, I guess.
But it ended up you now place a lot of trust in the process, huh?
Yeah. And I have to with the gates.
Yeah, and it's not that it wasn't doing it; it was just you being able to let go of something that, it sounds like it was almost like part of your identity. Like, this is who you are, this is what you do. You're a guy that's really good at breeding cows, giving them bread. You got that cow sense. That kind of can't be. You're like you almost had to be born with it to a certain level, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you had that, but you just mentioned something. You mentioned now you're able to pull things up on the phone, and some of that handheld stuff is more recent, right? Are those more recent developments in the last few months of some of what's all available right off your phone on the apps?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when I got it, but yeah, it's it was not on there when I first got the program. I used to print off a list from the Nedap, but now I just can pull it up right on my phone.
Wow.
Hot lists, health lists, cows ready to be dried off, anything really. So
how's that changed things for you when you don't have to come back to the office to print stuff out? You can pull things up on your phone.
Well, I tell you, it's decreased our time out stressing the cows out a lot more. Most days we're done with all cow treatments, breeding by 7:30. As far it's just really taken down the amount of time that we spend looking for and treating cows.
And so then for you, when it's time to head to hockey, take the kids to
practice,
go.
Yeah.
How does that change that part of your day?
It's a lot less stressful. We're there was a lot of times before we did this that I wasn't able to go because I just wasn't done, right?
Yeah.
So that's been, the time savings has been, it's night and day.
So it's been pretty big for you personally.
Yep.
But one thing you've mentioned here too that I want to ask you a little bit more about as well, cows and lockup time and just cow handling in general. That's been a big game change around here too.
Right away, we noticed the intakes go up, right? Cows are not near as stressed as they used to be. Our cows here are pretty used to people. Like if you walk in front of them, they're not going to pull back on the stanchions or anything like that. But you don't see near the the commotion around water troughs or anything. Mm-hmm. They really can just do it whenever they want to. We lock up cows still once a week, and on those days for herd check, on those days you notice when you let them go, they're all. Doesn't even matter if they've been locked up for 45 minutes. It's really not that long really for a lockup. They're all still just crowding around the water trough, just trying, fighting for that space, which is, now they're not fighting for it. The really only time that they're all trying to drink at the same time is really when they're leaving the barn, but there's enough space now for them to not have to fight over it.
So that's been a big shift that you've noticed. Anything else that's really stuck out?
Well, if we, maintain pace, it's going to be the lowest call rate that we'll ever have had in our 11 or 12 years, something like that. That's one thing that's changed since putting the collars on. So that I really hope that trend continues. I think we're identifying sick cows sooner than I would have just seen them walking around. Especially like I said earlier, like the cows that we're not locking up, we're picking up those cows that we might not have caught until it was too late.
So you probably have pretty high expectations on the repro side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about your goals. Like what are like where are you at with your repro numbers? How has it changed with having a new system in place for heat detection and breeding?
My goals for repro are really to create a flat line, like as far as calvings throughout the year. Right now with open lot in Bakersfield, it's 100 degrees in the summertime. Plus, we really see a really big dip in the summertime breedings. So where we're at right now, we run around a 22 or 23 preg rate, which is not, stellar by any means, but for the cards we're dealt here, I'm pretty happy with that. The goal is to raise the overall preg rate and get the preg rate more in line with the rest of the year through the summer. I don't expect it to be right in line. I still expect a dip just because of the way Bakersfield is in the summer.
Sure, yeah.
So
those 100-degree days where you could fry an egg. Yeah. Speaking of frying eggs, I'm guessing repro is real tough.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what's your breeding program like? So you're milking Holsteins here.
Yep.
What are you doing? Are you breeding some to beef? Are you, trying to, raise out some heifers? What does the breeding program look like?
It does change throughout the year, but still trying to mostly be sexed and beef. Very, very, very little conventional.
So at what point in time did you bring in the that management into the repro program or the genetics program here?
I would say up until last December 2023, probably, I was still probably a third sex, a third conventional, a third Angus. And now there's no conventional.
What does your plan look like over the next few years to continue to be, profitable and sustainable? And when I say sustainable, not just in terms of California environmental sustainable, but really a business that can withstand for the duration. What does that look like for you?
So I think we kind of stay the course as far as breeding goes. I don't see really conventional working its way back in because we have a pretty strong genetic herd, in my opinion, I guess. But I think for now the plan is just to kind of get as many cows in our barn as we can, right? It's fill the corrals, fill the wash pen, fill whatever we can, get as many cows for the barn as we can. So
yeah, so it really just optimizing, is that maybe the right word?
Yeah.
But really just making the best of what you have right here.
Yeah, exactly. How can we what can I do today to make this dairy a little better than it was yesterday? Kind of thing. And some days it doesn't feel like I make a lot of progress. Some days it's just driving around and fixing a couple soakers, right? But some days it's hey, we're redoing the wash pen, all new sprinklers, all new shades. It really kind of, just something, just find something to do to make the dairy a little bit better.
So a lot of the fixing the little things and anything else that you've been able to put into your agenda.
I'm spending a lot more time paying attention to what's affecting different markets, especially commodities. So there's I don't know, a couple different guys I follow and a group that I'm a part of too, that we meet every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's, what's making markets do and when might be a good time to buy.
So what I'm hearing through that, Adam, is you have really been able to grow as a manager.
Yeah.
And as a business owner.
Yep.
Less time in the doing and more time to dedicate to the management of the business side. Huh?
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. And I love doing. I mean, there's not a job on the dairy that I haven't spent considerable amount of time doing either. Right? It's like I love doing it. It's just not good for the big picture. Yeah. I think it's good for the guys to see you doing it.
Absolutely.
But I just don't know if it's the best for the big picture.
So this has been kind of a big, this whole adaptation of technology with the collars and the sort gates. It's really been a big growth opportunity for you personally. Like not just on from the perspective of the data and the management side and the time side, but it's really opened up this opportunity for you to step into looking at your business in a different way, huh?
Yeah. Well, the way the dairy runs now is totally different. I wouldn't say it hasn't changed the goal. It's just changed how we do it.
So, okay, Adam, so we have had great talk about the dairy and technology and management, but what I'd like to do in our last few minutes that we have here in your office today is get to know you a little bit more. So I have 5 questions for you.
All right.
Are you familiar with these? You maybe heard them
I've heard them, yeah,
before? Yep. Okay. So question for you, number 1, what does success look like to you?
So success for me is I want to create a product here and an environment that guys can work in that's glorifying to God and it's acceptable for people to consume, right? I don't want to produce a junk product, right? It's got to be something I'm proud of.
You talk about showing up at the dairy every day. So question number 2, in 3 words, how do you want to show up each day?
Faith, character, and attitude. I wake up every morning, first thing I do, I cruise around the dairy and I listen to my Bible app. Character, I want to have character when I interact with my employees, when I interact with vendors that come on the dairy, right? I know it's not how it works anymore, but I really want people, when I say something, it's what I mean, right? And then attitude, I want to have an attitude of leadership for the employees that they know that the decisions I'm making, it's for the betterment of the dairy.
You know, when we talk about your typical day on the dairy, it starts with putting some time into your faith and driving around, being in a place where you couldn't get more connected to God's most beautiful creations right here, huh?
Yep.
And okay, so when you think about the people that you look to for influences in your life, who are the thought leaders that you follow?
As a dairyman, we'll start there. As a dairyman, there are a lot of very knowledgeable dairymen in our immediate community right here. Right? My neighbors are very well established, and I consider them to be the best dairymen around. Like they're incredible. They're good people. I listen to a lot of what they say. You know, other voices, I really respect the words that come out of my pastor's mouth. I think he's a little bit further along than me than in the dad stage, but the way I see him around his kids, he's an excellent father, and he's just a great man of character and faith. So my dad's on that list too. I guess we'll throw him on there. I wanted to do what Dad did, be around cows, growing up with him. But yeah, my dad has been an excellent dad, right? Been there for me in tough times and good times, and all around great example for me. So
okay, so on that note, my next question for you, question number 4, what are the words that you live by?
I had a tougher time thinking about the answer to this one. It kind of goes back to those 3 words that I think about when I wake up every morning. It's just kind of how I approach the day, and then the words I live by, I guess, the words that in my Bible, right? It's like, it's your manual, right? Your manual for life.
Any verse that really stands out for you?
I guess there's a verse in Malachi. I'm not sure the chapter and number. He says to put him to the test. Like, I'll be there for you, right? And we try to do that through like sacrificial giving. I'd say that's one that we as a family kind of really try to put into practice.
So, okay, my last question for you, Adam. What's your next up level?
The next up level, we're gonna just try to get through this summer, I guess. I don't know. The next up level is really, we're just gonna put 100% effort into making sure that the cows are the most comfortable they can be. I'd say this summer coming up is probably the most amount of money and time that we've poured into getting ready for, like, how are we, like, we gotta get through this better than we have been, kind of thing. So that's kind of, I mean, we've been gearing up for it, but it's still going on. So, summer's just about to start.
You answer this in terms of cows in the dairy.
Yep.
But what about for you?
Yeah, so for me, I think my guys respect me, but I think there's a level of respect still that I can get to even higher. Where I say, for example, my feeder has an off day feeding, or it turns into, it slowly turns into a pattern, something where he wants, because he knows who I am and that I really care. Like, I want him to start to see through my leadership and my conversations with him that he starts caring as much as I do. So, and I think that I want to get my guys to understand that the way that I did even before I was an owner would be my next up level.
What's that going to take?
I think it's going to take, we talked about I'm not doing the small hands-on details, but I think it's going to take spending time with them, talking to them, and just getting them to understand that the decisions I make aren't, they might see like, oh, his sort gates, he's getting done at 7:30. He doesn't even work anymore. It's not for me. It's for the cows. Even though, gives me more time, yes, but it's really to put less stress on the cow throughout the day.
So really looking to pull culture from the top down, huh?
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
So a year from now, what do you hope that you'll be saying about how things have gone the past year?
Well, I hope I can be saying that we skated through summer, no problem. It was great. Every cow we bred got pregnant. But no, I'm hoping in a year from now, I can say that my guys, they already come to work, and I think they do like working here, but they've developed a new love for not just being here and the guys that they work with, but a love for the cows.
Well, it sounds like you are on a great path for that to be what you'd be able to say a year from now.
I hope so.
Investing in technology, investing in cow comfort, but ultimately investing in the way that you can create that culture and take your passion and the things that are meaningful and dearest to your heart for what you want to see for the cows, and instill that in the people that are out there doing it alongside you every day. You just heard from California dairyman Adam Westenbrook. From cowside technology to coaching hockey, Adam's story is a reminder that progress on the dairy starts with leadership at home. Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. Don't forget to follow, rate, and share wherever you get your podcasts. As always, I'm Peggy Coffeen, and until next time, keep on growing, keep on learning, and up-leveling your dairy. This episode is powered by Nedap. Nedap is future-proofing dairy farms by revolutionizing cowside care through technologies and activity monitoring, cow locating, milk metering, and identification.